The rain fell steadily over the quiet streets of Chicago, washing the city in silver reflections and soft shadows. Inside a dimly lit office building, Nathan Carter sat alone at his desk long after everyone else had gone home. His tie was loosened, his eyes heavy, and the glow from the computer screen illuminated the tired lines on his face. Being a single father had never been part of the plan he once imagined, yet it had become the center of his entire world. For 6 years, Nathan had raised his little daughter Chloe alone after losing his wife in a tragic accident. Every morning began with making pancakes, braiding Chloe's hair with clumsy fingers, and rushing her to school before sprinting to work at Harrington Global, one of the most powerful companies in the city. Every night ended with bedtime stories, homework struggles, and quiet moments where he wondered if he was doing enough to fill the space her mother had left behind. But on that particular evening, something unexpected was about to change the course of his life. Earlier that day, Nathan had been standing near the office elevator when one of his coworkers jokingly asked about his weekend plans. Without thinking too much, Nathan smiled tiredly and mentioned that he actually had a date that night. It wasn't a big deal. It wasn't even a real date yet. Just coffee with a woman he had recently met at Chloe's school fundraiser. But the word somehow traveled through the office faster than he expected. And eventually, they reached the ears of the one person Nathan never imagined would care. Victoria Hayes, the CEO of Harrington Global. Victoria Hayes was known throughout the corporate world as a woman who commanded every room she walked into. At just 38, she had built a reputation as brilliant, ruthless in business negotiations, and almost untouchable in her personal life. Employees admired her success but kept their distance. She rarely spoke about anything outside of work, and she certainly never involved herself in the personal lives of her staff. Yet that afternoon, when Nathan stepped into the executive elevator to deliver some financial reports, he was surprised to see Victoria standing there alone. The elevator doors closed softly behind him, and for a moment, the silence felt unusually heavy. Victoria glanced at the folder in Nathan's hands before casually asking how his day was going. Nathan answered politely, trying not to appear nervous. Working under someone as powerful as Victoria always made employees careful with their words. But then something strange happened. Victoria looked at him for a moment longer than usual and asked a question that made Nathan almost drop the papers he was holding. She asked about the rumor she had heard about his date. Nathan chuckled awkwardly, assuming she was teasing him in the same way his coworkers had earlier. He explained that it wasn't anything serious, just dinner and coffee with someone he had recently met. The elevator continued climbing silently. Then Victoria asked something that stunned him completely. She tilted her head slightly, studying him with curious eyes, and calmly asked if the woman he was meeting was prettier than her. For a moment, Nathan thought he had misunderstood. The question sounded so out of place coming from the most powerful woman in the company that his mind struggled to process it. Victoria Hayes didn't ask personal questions. Victoria Hayes didn't compare herself to anyone. And she definitely didn't show curiosity about an employee's romantic life. Nathan laughed nervously, assuming it must have been a joke. But when he looked at her face, she wasn't smiling. She simply waited, as if the answer somehow mattered more than Nathan could possibly understand. Before we continue, if you believe stories about kindness, unexpected connections, and second chances deserve to be shared, take a moment to like this video, comment where you're watching from, share it with someone who believes in love after hardship, and subscribe to the channel. Your support helps bring more meaningful stories like this to life. Nathan eventually gave a humble response, explaining that he didn't compare people that way. He said beauty meant different things to different people, and honestly, he had been too busy raising Chloe and working overtime to think much about dating at all. Victoria listened quietly. Then the elevator reached the top floor, and she simply nodded before stepping out without another word. Nathan assumed the strange moment would disappear like a passing cloud, but it didn't. Over the following weeks, Victoria began noticing things about Nathan she had never paid attention to before. She noticed how he always left exactly at 5:30 p.m., never staying late unless it was absolutely necessary. She noticed how he sometimes brought small drawings Chloe had made and pinned them discreetly inside his office cubicle. One afternoon, she even saw him sitting in the cafeteria helping Chloe with her math homework while waiting for a babysitter to arrive. For the first time in years, Victoria Hayes felt something unfamiliar stirring inside her carefully controlled world. Admiration, but also something deeper. Loneliness had been a quiet companion in Victoria's life for a long time. Her career demanded relentless focus, endless travel, and sacrifices most people could never understand. Relationships had always taken second place to building the company her father once dreamed of leading. Watching Nathan interact with his daughter reminded her of something she had never truly allowed herself to want: a life outside conference rooms and board meetings. One rainy evening, weeks after the elevator conversation, Victoria made a decision that surprised even herself. She invited Nathan to a company charity gala, explaining that employees were welcome to bring guests but that she would appreciate his help hosting one of the fundraising tables. Nathan hesitated at first. Events like that required suits he rarely wore and babysitters he struggled to afford. But eventually he agreed, mostly because the charity supported children's hospitals, something close to his heart after Chloe had once spent months recovering from a serious illness. The night of the gala arrived with bright lights, elegant music, and hundreds of guests dressed in formal attire. Nathan felt completely out of place. But when Victoria walked into the ballroom wearing a simple black dress that somehow made the entire room fall silent, something unexpected happened. Her confident expression softened the moment she saw him standing awkwardly near the entrance. For the first time since becoming CEO, Victoria Hayes looked nervous. The evening unfolded slowly. They spoke about work, about Chloe, about Nathan's late wife, and about the strange paths life sometimes forced people to walk. Nathan shared stories about learning how to braid hair by watching YouTube videos, and how Chloe insisted on leaving a nightlight on because she believed it kept bad dreams away. Victoria listened with a quiet smile that surprised even herself. Hours passed. Eventually, the music slowed, and couples began moving toward the dance floor. Nathan stayed at the table, watching from a distance. Dancing had once been something he loved doing with his wife. After she passed away, he never really found the heart to try again. Victoria noticed. She walked over slowly and asked if he wanted to dance. Nathan hesitated, memories tugging painfully at his chest. But something about Victoria's gentle expression convinced him to stand. They moved awkwardly at first, like two people unfamiliar with the rhythm of the same song. Yet as the music played, Nathan realized something strange. For the first time in years, the weight he carried didn't feel quite as heavy. Victoria, the powerful CEO who once intimidated entire boardrooms, simply rested her hand lightly on his shoulder as if none of that mattered in that moment. And as they danced beneath the soft lights of the ballroom, Nathan quietly realized something. Victoria Hayes hadn't asked that strange question in the elevator because she was arrogant. She had asked it because she was lonely and curious, and maybe hoping someone might see her not as a CEO but as a woman who had spent too many years building success while quietly sacrificing happiness. Before the story reaches its final moment, here's a special request. Comment below with the word second chance, if you believe life sometimes brings the right people into our lives when we least expect it. Months later, the office rumor mill buzzed again, this time not about Nathan having a date, but about the CEO who had started leaving work earlier than usual. Sometimes people even spotted her at a small park near Chloe's school, sitting on a bench while Nathan and Chloe fed breadcrumbs to ducks by the pond. Victoria Hayes still ran one of the most powerful companies in the city, but now, every so often, she allowed herself to step away from the boardroom and into a quieter world filled with laughter, messy pancake breakfasts, and bedtime stories about brave little girls and fathers who never gave up. And Nathan Carter slowly discovered that sometimes the most unexpected questions lead to the most beautiful answers life has to offer. If this story touched your heart even a little, take a moment to like the video, share it with someone who believes in love after loss, comment your thoughts, and subscribe to the channel for more emotional stories that remind us hope is never truly gone.